Imagine a vast wilderness. It is the kind of place that appears on postcards and computer screensavers. There are rolling hills, towering mountains, and open valleys. To the casual observer, it looks perfect. It looks peaceful, but looks can be deceiving. Underneath the surface, this ecosystem is sick. It is out of balance. It has been broken for nearly 70 years. The year is 1995, and the location is Yellowstone National Park. For decades, the park had a problem. It was a problem that seemed nice at first. There were too many deer. Technically, they are elk, but for the purpose of this story, think of them as the herds that graze. Without any natural enemies, the herds had exploded in population. They were the kings of the park. They roamed wherever they wanted. They grazed in the deep valleys and camped out by the riverbanks. They were comfortable, and that comfort was destroying everything. The herds ate everything in sight. They ate the grass down to the dirt. They ate the tiny saplings of willow and aspen trees before the plants ever had a chance to grow tall. Because the deer were everywhere, the vegetation vanished. The valleys became barren landscapes. The regeneration of the forest stopped completely. Nothing could grow because nothing was safe from the hungry mouths of the herd. The park was turning into a massive, overgrazed pasture. It was a slow death by consumption. Then, a decision was made. It was a controversial move. The decision was to bring back the monster. The wolves had been absent from the park for a lifetime. Humans had hunted them to extinction in the area to protect livestock and game. But in 1995, the trucks arrived. The crates were unloaded. The gates opened. A small number of wolves were released back into the wild. The atmosphere shifted immediately. The predator was back. The first impact was obvious. Wolves eat deer. The wolves hunted. They took down the weak, the old, and the slow. The population of the herd dropped. But that was not the most important change. The number of deer killed was actually quite small compared to the total population. The real game changer was not death. It was fear.
A spectacular
For the first
sight.
time in generations, the herd had to be careful. They could no longer lazy around in the deep valleys or stand still by the river for hours. Those places were traps. Those places were where the wolves could corner them. So the behavior of the herd changed. They started to move. They avoided the gorges. They stayed on the move, constantly looking over their shoulders. They abandoned the easy grazing spots near the water dot. This behavioral shift was the spark that started a fire of life. Because the deer stopped hanging out in the valleys, the plants began to breathe. The willow trees, which had been eaten down to nubs for years, suddenly started to grow. The aspen trees shot up. In just a few years, the valleys went from barren scrubland to lush forests. The height of the trees in some areas quintupled. The gray landscape turned green dot. This sudden explosion of greenery invited new neighbors. The trees produced berries. The berries attracted bears. The bears also killed deer calves, reinforcing the population control. But the bears also ate the berries and spread seeds. Into more forests, then came the birds. Songbirds that had vanished because there were no trees to nest in suddenly returned. Migratory birds saw the new forests from the sky and decided to land. The air, once silent, was filled with the sound of wings and songs. The ecosystem was waking up from a coma, but the most surprising guest was the beaver. Beavers are ecosystem engineers. They love willow and aspen trees. In the past, there were no trees, so there were no beavers. Now, with the forests returning, the beavers came back. They started doing what beavers do. They chomped on the wood. They built dams in the rivers.
The garter
These dams
snake,
created
though
ponds.
common, is a marvel
The
of
ponds
the forest
created
floor,
habitats for otters,
utilizing its tongue to
muskrats,
sense its
ducks,
surroundings.
and fish. The amphibians returned. The reptiles returned. The water was teeming with life, all because the trees had returned, which only happened because the deer had moved, which only happened because the wolves had arrived. But the story gets even crazier. The ripple effect did not stop at the animals or the plants. It went all the way to the dirt
This
and
cross-section
the water
illustrates
itself.
the remarkable
Before
depth
the
of
wolves,
the mature root
the rivers
system,
were messy.
reaching far
Because
below
the deer had
topsoil.
eaten all the vegetation on the banks, the soil was loose. There were no roots to hold the earth in place. When it rained, the banks collapsed. The rivers were wide, shallow, and muddy. The soil erosion was terrible. The water meandered aimlessly, washing away the land. When the wolves forced the deer away, the vegetation on the riverbanks grew back. The roots of the willows and aspens dug deep into the earth. They acted like anchors. They held the soil together. The riverbanks stabilized. They stopped collapsing because the banks held firm. The rivers began to change shape. The channels became narrower. The water flowed faster and deeper. The meandering stopped. Pools formed. The messy, washing away rivers disciplined themselves into
A
fixed
fascinating
courses.
glimpse into the
The physical
microcosmos of the
geography
meadow.
of the park
The scarab,
transformed
a
Dot.
diligent
Think about
scavenger,
that for a
shares
second.
this space with the
A
common
pack of
ladybug.
animals that lives on land, that does not swim, that does not plant trees, managed to change the way the water flowed. The presence of the predator protected the plants protected the soil, and the soil directed the river. The scavengers also benefited. When the wolves left the carcass, ravens and eagles came down to feed. The soil absorbed the nutrients from the leftovers,
The intricate web
making
of
the
life
grass richer,
connects every
which
creature.
fed the beetles
Here we
and the
see the
insects.
chimpanzee, the
Everything
ring-tailed
was
lemur.
connected. Before the reintroduction, the coyote population was huge. Coyotes eat small rodents. When the wolves came back, they killed the coyotes. This sounds bad, but it was great for the little guys. With fewer coyotes, the number of rabbits and mice increased. This meant more food for the hawks, the weasels, and the foxes. The balance was restored at every level. The park became wilder. It became louder. It became more complex.
Is nearly
The
decimated.
simple,
But
broken
the packs
food
in the
chain
northern
of grass
provinces
to
are
deer
stable. Look
was
here.
replaced by a massive, intricate web of life. The concept is called a trophic cascade. It is an ecological process that starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles all the way down to the bottom. It shows that nature is not just a collection of separate items. It is not a list of animals and plants. It is a machine. Every part relies on the other parts. If one cog is removed, the machine breaks. If that cog is put back, the machine starts to hum again. For 70 years, humans thought they were helping by removing the bad animals. Humans thought nature would be safer and prettier without the killers. Humans were wrong. Nature needs the killer. The ecosystem needs the fear. Without the pressure from the top, the bottom rots. Walking through the park today, the difference is palpable. The willows are tall and thick, swaying in the wind. The river runs clear and deep, cutting through the valley with purpose. The sound of water crashing over beaver dams mixes with the call of the eagle. And somewhere in the distance, hidden in the tree line, is the cause of it all. The wolf does not know it is a gardener. The wolf does not know it is a river engineer. The wolf is just trying to survive. It is just hunting for dinner. But in that simple act of survival, it sustains the entire world around it. It serves as a humbling lesson. The natural world is far more interconnected than people realize. It is easy to look at a river and think it has nothing to do with a wolf. It is easy to look at a tree and think it has nothing to do with fear. But the invisible threads that tie them together are strong. This event in Yellowstone proved that the predator is just as important as the prey. It proved that destruction and creation are two sides of the same coin. By bringing death back to the park, life was allowed to flourish. The rivers of Yellowstone are no longer just water flowing to the sea. They are a testament to the power of balance. They are a liquid monument to the wolf. The landscape is a living memory of what happens when nature is allowed to be whole again. The next time you look at a stream or a forest, remember the hidden connections. Remember that the flower might be there because of the bee. The tree might be there because of the fungus. And the river might be running clear because somewhere in the shadows, a monster is watching. The system works as long as all the pieces are on the board. The story of the wolves and the rivers is a reminder that even the things that seem scary or dangerous have a vital role to play. Remove the darkness and the light fades. Keep the balance and the world thrives. The howl of the wolf is not just a scary sound in the night. It is the heartbeat of the wilderness, pumping life into the soil, the trees, and the rushing water.